Activity based costing. C. You might have studied your cost sheet also at your preliminary level. Direct material, direct labor, direct expenses. Consisting of the three will be called as prime cost. Now you have to add factory overhead with this. If you add the factory overhead, then you will get the cost of production. Factory cost, then after adjusting the opening stock of work in progress and all, you will get the cost of production. Now, these three are directly linked with the goods manufactured, identifiable, and you can simply add this cost to the product. Add the cost to the product, no problem there. Clear? But fixed overhead is a common. I cannot state that this expense is only for this product. Probably this is product A and product B, C, n number of products we may produce. Material related for A, labor and expenses directly related to A will be called as prime cost, and factory will be common for all the products. Then the overhead we incur for the products will be now added to A, B and C separately by using some methods. That is called absorption costing traditionally, absorption costing, or this will be named as traditional costing. Under traditional costing, we find out the fixed overhead, factory overhead and add here based on certain percentage on the direct material, direct labor, prime cost like. If the direct material is 100, traditionally we call the factory overhead will be around 50% of the direct expenses, direct material. Then automatically if the direct material cost being 100, this will be another 50. That's how we'll calculate the cost of production. Or certain percentage of direct labor or certain percentage on prime cost, or based on the machine hour rate or labor hour rate, or even based on the number of units produced, we can absorb the overheads to the product. That's why it is called absorption costing. Whatever the cost we incur will be now added to A, B and C separately. Okay. So, the common cost for running the factory added to product A, B, C, automatically the cost of product A absorbs the common products, common costs. That's why it is called absorption costing. Material labor expenses are related to A only, no problem. Apart from that, we incur some common expenses. How can we recover that? Let the product will absorb these costs. How the costs are going to be added to the product we manufacture? Based on one of the methods suggested in absorption costing, maybe based on the direct labor cost and direct labor material cost. These two put together, prime cost and machine hour rate, labor hour rate and sales unit. 6 methods are there. Okay, if you are studying the costing paper purely, in your absorption costing overhead chapter, you will study all those things. Okay, so here I just give the briefing. You can recap or you can study along with the overhead chapter later on. But in this case, this will not be proper. This will not be proper. This expenses is meant for the product A only, no problem. But this expenses is not for A. Anyhow, a rough calculation is done. Go to the restaurant, spend for a group of 10 students and collect 100 rupees each. Bill 1000 rupees is paid. Seems to be logically easy to collect the 100 rupees from every student and pay for the bill, right? No problem here. Any doubts here? But what happens? One student had just 2 idli, another student completed 15 idlis. How much I charged from him? 100 rupees. How much I charged from him? 100 rupees. Will it be logically correct? So, based on some number of units, number of students, overall bill divided by number of students, overall bill 1000, 10 students per students 100. It's a blanket rate, like it's not logically correct. Then we need to find out what is the consumption of each and every students independently, and we have to recover the money from them though. That's the logically correct. See now the bill, what's that? The restaurant bill 1,000 rupees. Assumed to be the factory overhead. Like, am I going to absorb to the students based on the number of students? Okay, number of students 1,000 by 10, 100 rupees each. This is called traditional absorption costing. But ABC says no, sir. This 1,000 is incurred due to some activity. What is the activity for this 1,000? What is the activity for this 1,000? Eating. Very simple. Eating is the activity. Which drives the cost higher is nothing but, again, eating. Eating, lesser eating, then the restaurant bill will be lesser. More eating, the restaurant bill will be more. Clear? And based on the number of idlis eaten, this cost may be increasing or decreasing. So this is the activity. This is the cost driver. If you eat more idlis, the cost driven upside. If you are eating lesser, the cost driven lower side. Hope you'll be now able to understand these two, upside and low side. Clear? Now, rather than dividing the entire 1,000 by 10 students, divide this by number of idlis eaten. Maybe 50 idlis eaten. Then what happens then? 20 rupees per idli. This fellow has taken only 2 idlis, so 40 rupees. This fellow has taken 15 idlis, so 300 rupees should be recovered from him. The cost increases or decreases due to the number of idlis you ordered. The number of idlis is the driving force for the cost, so only it is called cost driver. And this cost is grouped because of what activity? Eating activity. So you have to find out the entire cost for any activity. Thereafter, you have to find out the cost driver for each and every cost for the activity. The product which consumes more activity or cost driver will be responsible for adjusting more costs. That's the logic. The entire factory overhead is involving of n number of activities. Okay, in a factory, what happens? We have power, we have employees, workers, and we have some other repairs and maintenance. Such a way, the factory overheads are now classified into small activity and cost associated with that. Break that, the factory overhead, the reason for incurrence of the costs. These costs only due to some activity, the cost is now grouped for the activity. And then the cost for the activity is either increasing or decreasing because of one factor. That factor is called cost driver. Based on the cost driver, now you can find out the cost per cost driver. Then find out the product which consumes more cost driver, charge him more. That's the logic. So before I go further, I just added an imaginary illustration here. Okay, we'll try to finish up this first of all so that we'll be able to enjoy learning this. It's an imaginary illustration. I just added this with a halwa shop. SSA has prepared 4 kg of halwa with the following cost breakup: direct material, direct labor, overheads. Traditionally, overheads absorbed under labor cost. Is that okay? So under absorption costing, direct material being 1,500 rupees, direct labor being 500 rupees. Okay, 500 rupees. And what about the prime cost? 2,000 rupees. And what about the overheads? 1,000 rupees. How the overhead is recovered? Based on the labor cost. Overhead usually, traditionally, we can recover to the product using 6 bases: material, labor, prime cost, machine hours and labor hour, and finally sales unit. So here they have followed the labor cost. Predominantly we follow labor cost. What does it mean? Compare these two. So from this it is very clear, 2 times of direct labor cost will be the overhead, otherwise 200% of the labor cost being your overhead. That's how we'll find out the cost here. Now, if I add this, then you will get Cost of product as sales 3,000 rupees. The goods are sold with a markup of 25% on sales. So you add the profit on this 25% being 25% on sales. So if the sales being 1,000, 100, then this profit is 25 and this should be 75. Is that clear? 75 is this one, means 25 should be 1,000 and it should be 4,000 rupees. Clear? See, this is how the traditional costing fixes the sale price and absorbs the costs to the product. But under activity based costing, now this 1,000 rupees we spend, whatever the amount you spend, only due to some activity, right? You're not going to connect to the product. It's not going to be linked to the product halwa. It's going to be linked to for some activity. Okay, what happens if you prepare halwa? What happens? You need the ingredients and then kitchen. Ingredients very easy. You can calculate for the halwa. For 4 kgs of halwa, how much of material required, labor required? Okay, no issues. What about the kitchen cost? Stove expenses, depreciation of stove, and even gas you spend, electricity you have during the cooking duration, and exhaust fan. Sir, how can I add those costs? Traditionally, we had what method? Some absorption basis. That's a rough, crude manner. It's a very silly matter. Add 5% or 10% of the cost. But Cooper and Kaplan came for an innovative idea. The kitchen running expenses is due to the operations only. What's that? Electricity. If you switch on, then it's needed. Exhaust, if you switch on, then needed. Gas, switch on, needed. So now all these costs is linked to the stove on situation and exhaust fan and light on situation. That's how we'll identify. Cost is now identified for the activity. Details regarding activities and cost drivers are given below. Here, packing cost 310, cash payment 10 rupees, credit card payment 30 rupees, sample 60, and sale processing time 90. Come on, get me the total of this. Three, 10, 10, 30, 60, 90. What is the total? What about the another 500 rupees? Maybe non-allocated to the activity. Those costs can be allocated to the activity, those costs not allocated. That's how we can group. We cannot identify the entire overhead spent for any specific activity. Some activity will be very silly, like small, insignificant. Or we cannot track properly, leave it. We cannot track properly, leave it. Is that okay? That's the logic here. Now, if the customer visits to your showroom and orders, we have to offer them packing material, and we have to spend packing also. Customers may settle the money in the form of cash. So the billing delay will be there. Billing delay, for that we are losing around 10 rupees of employees' worth. In case of credit card payment, there's a credit card charges. The customer may pay 1,000 rupees, but I get only 970 rupees or 80 rupees. I may get lesser because of the credit card payment. The customers in sweet stall go for an asking sample. You are always tempted to go for that. So for distributing the sample, there is a cost. And sale processing time. The customer comes, salesman has to debut for the customers to finish his purchase comfortably. Almost 90 rupees spent, 90 minutes spent. Clear? Now, see, two customers came. Customer A and B have purchased 3 kgs and 1 kgs of halwa respectively. So for 4 kg, it's 4,000, means for A, how much we recover? Has he consumed 3 kg, so we charge 3,000 rupees from him. And from B, we charge 1000 rupees for 1 kg. It's a traditional one. Usually that's how it happens in a halwa show, I mean sweet stall, right? Go and purchase. If you purchase 1 kg, you will be paying 1000 rupees. Your friend purchased 3 kg, has to pay 3000 rupees. But Kepler and Coupon calculated the different way. How? See, this one is all about packing. This one is all about packing. I post this to the next site. Now, and some unidentifiable cost we have. Some unidentifiable cost. Common factory overhead. How much is that? 500 rupees. Now, packing is the activity. What's the cost driver? What's the cost driver? Number of packing. Packing is the activity. How can you measure based on the number of activities? If you are stating that in terms of number, then it's called cost driver. Customer A purchased how many kgs? 3 kgs. Customer B purchased how many kgs? 1 kg. Customer B comes and purchases the entire 1 kg and wants it to be packed in 1 kg itself. How many package we need to do for B? Only 1. For customer A, he requires to pack 100 grams each. For 3000 grams, you have to make 30 packages. Then 31 packages done, that is called cost driver. 31 packs done for 310 rupees and cost per cost driver. Cost per cost driver. How much? 310 by 31? 10 rupees. Payment charges. Customer A came for purchasing and payment is made by way of credit card and he settles in the form of cash. Is that okay? So in case of cash, 10 rupees will be the charges and for credit card 30 rupees will be the charges. Also 1 and also 1. 10 rupees, 30 rupees. For every cash payment, it costs us 10 rupees for processing. For every credit card payment, the seller has to pay credit card charges 30 rupees. And customer A came for getting the samples, almost 5 samples, and customer B took 1 sample, almost 6 samples were taken. For 6 samples, overall cost for the company being 60, otherwise cost per cost driver being 10 rupees. Customer A came and demanded for various requirement like 100 grams pack and credit card and 5 times tasting the sweets, leads to 75 seconds to debut the time for him. But customer B came just a matter of 15 seconds to finish his purchase and went. For the 90 seconds, 90 rupees is cost, otherwise 1 rupee is the cost for per second. Now find out the material and labor. So direct material and direct labor here being, okay, no problem, 500 and 1500. Now direct material cost and direct labor cost for A as well as for B. A purchased 3 kgs. For 4 kgs, 1500 means per kg, how much is that? 375. And for 4 kg, 500 means per kg 125. A consumed 3 kgs, purchased 3 kgs, and B purchased 1 kg. So 375 into 3, 1125 is the material cost for A's purchased item. For B's purchased item, 375 into 1 kg, 375. In case of labor, 125 per kg for 3 kg, 375, and in case of B, 125. So the overall value being 1400 is the prime cost. Here, 500 is the prime cost. Now, what about the overheads are? In case of overheads, As per the cost driver, 30 and 1. 30 is to 1. Per cost driver 10 means for 30 small packages, we have to charge 300 rupees. For B, only 10 rupees. In case of cash payment, 10 rupees cash payment is made by B. In case of A, he is settled by credit card, 30 rupees. And sample, A has taken 5 samples and B has taken only 1 sample. Per sample cost is 10 into 5, 50 rupees here, and 1 into 10, 10 rupees. And sale processing 75 seconds and 15 seconds, or 5:1 is the ratio. 5:1. So here 75 rupees, here 15 rupees. Still, after this also, we still have some factory overhead not allocated to any of the activities or any of the ABC model. Then what we can do? Go with the traditional costing. Go with the traditional costing. What is the traditional costing? Absorption costing. As per the absorption costing, overhead will be recovered based on what? Labor cost. Overall factory overhead recovery rate. This will be called factory overhead recovery rate, which is nothing but factory overhead divided by base. Divided by base. What is the base here? Direct labor cost is the base. Factory overhead is 500 rupees. Unallocated factory overhead. Here unallocated factory overhead being 500. So 500 divided by direct labor cost being 500 rupees. So 100%. 100% of direct labor cost will be identified. So here 375 into 100, 375. In this case, 125 into 100%, 125. Now what is the total cost here? So this will be the prime cost. This will be the overhead. Overhead. Okay. For A it is 1500. Okay. Come, let me know this value. Overheads alone. 830. And for B, 170. What is the cost of sales? 1500 into 830, 2330. And for B, 170 plus 500, 670. As per the traditional sales price, we charge 1000 rupees per kg. For A, 3000. For B, 1000 rupees. Then identify the profit component here. The profit component in this case being 670 here, 330. Now find out the GP percentage, the profit percentage, net profit ratio. Come on, 670 by 3000, 22%, and B gets, because of B we get almost 33%. 33%. Clear? 22% and 33%. Is that clear? 22%. We thought we get around 25% on sales. Okay. I think 25% on sales. But what happens here? In case of selling to A, we get only 22%. Selling to B, we get 33%. It means because of A's consumption, B has paid. A has eaten only 2 idlis, but B has taken 10 idlis. But the overall bill 200 is shared equally. How it is logically correct? So traditional costing has such a mistake. Thereafter, we identified the activity for the cost, and the cost increase and decrease because of what? That because of what is the cost driver. Okay. Now we have to find out the cost per cost driver, and the person who is responsible for the cost driver will be charged. That's the logic. After introduction of this one, later on what happens, if the customer demands to pack 50 grams, so we want to go for a celebration, sir, we want to offer them sweets with karam for the gatherings. So need to have the pack of only 50 grams. Okay, we'll do. For the 50 grams, we have to spend extra time, so we charge separately. Then it seems to be logically correct, right? So that's why these concepts came. Cooper and Kaplan's introduced concept came as ABC costing, one of the modern one and interesting one. Modern one introduced in 1992. It's very long back. So almost 33 years over. Clear? So hope you will be now able to understand this one. So with this small logic, we'll go for the subsequent illustration. If it is clear, text me. Online students, come on, respond me. This is traditional costing. This is ABC costing. I didn't get any message. Okay. Amruda and Archu. What about the others? Now, so as per ABC, it's a two-stage cost assignment. Assigns resource costs to the activity cost pools, and then using the cost driver, we add that to the cost object. In this illustration, I just discussed about Halwa illustration. A and B, these two customers are cost objects. Not necessarily it may be customers, it may be some products also. So cost object means for what you are going to calculate the cost to be added is called cost object. Here my intention is to find out the cost meant for these two parties, A and B. So A and B are the cost objectives. How can we now add this cost to the product or objects? First, pool the cost based on the activity and then transfer that cost to the cost object using the cost driver. Two-stage cost assignment. Activity is nothing but specific task or work we do. Because of that, we spend. Resources, an economic element needed. Okay, this is okay. Resource consumption, activity consumption, all this okay. And cost driver. Cost driver. A cost and effect cost driver used to allocate shared resources to individual activities. Okay. So we now use the cost drivers to allocate these costs to the product. That's the main theme here. Now, activities may be batch related activities, business sustaining activity, facility sustaining activity. So these are the other terms also used here. Anyhow, we'll see this one. Activity based costing system designed by Cooper and Kaplan. Okay. Calculate cost of individual activities, then assign the cost to the cost objects. Okay. Cost objects may be what? Products, services. Okay, product or service, even customers also. So stages are also there, and some of the costs related to the marketing, number of advertisement, number of sales personnel, sales revenue. These may be the cost driver. You can very easily guess what are the activities and what could be the cost driver for those things. Right. Now, some theoretical question we'll discuss here. State with a brief reason whether you would recommend an activity based costing system, activity based costing system of costing each of the following independent situations. Company D produces only one product. The overhead costs mainly consisted of depreciation. Now, do I want to have the ABC? No, not required. If only one student goes to the restaurant and has the food for him, now pays he himself, then why do we want to allocate the costs to each and every student, right? Similarly, here we have only one product. We no need to use the ABC. When we have the multiple products and consumption of resources may be not same. A consume higher, B consumes lesser. Only then ABC comes. A also consumes the same, B also consumes the same. 10 students are going for the restaurant, for the dinner or whatever it may be. All consumed 4 idlis per head. Then whatever the cost you have, no, you can split directly, no problem here. So two reasons. The product should be more than one, and the resources consumption by these products are not same. In that case, only ABC is required. Company BC produces 5 different products using different production facilities. ABC is required. A consultancy firm consisting of lawyers, accountants, and computer engineers. Okay. And they are providing management consultancy services. Do I want to have ABC? Yes. We are giving the management consultancy services to XYZ Limited. The service involves legal support, accounting support, and engineering IT support. Some company may require more legal support. Some company may be in need of more IT support. We are not sure. The resources consumption are not even. So then definitely we need to use the ABC. And company Siemens produces 2 different labor intensive products, 2 products. Contribution per unit in both the product is very high. Contribution is very high. BEP is very low. Okay. Sales minus variable cost contribution. Sales is 100. Variable cost is 10. Contribution is 90. High contribution. BEP is very low. Then what does it mean? Fixed cost is very, very small number. Only then the BEP could be lower. Right. All the work is carried on efficiently to meet the target costs. And they are very stringent to spend the money. So what happens then? We need not to use the ABC costing at all, because the fixed overhead is very insignificant. Very insignificant. Okay. If the fixed overhead is insignificant, never bother about that. Okay. So after finishing a heavy lunch or dinner, whatever it may be in the restaurant, once you come out, small sweetener is there. Okay. Mouth freshener. Will they charge something for that in bill? No, not required, because it's a petty amount or insignificant amount. That doesn't matter. We never bother about adding that cost here. So that's how we can decide based on the low BEP and high this cost, means PVR. And that too, it is labor intensive. We don't have the factory at all. Mainly labor intensive. Now, always remember, we need to have the value added services for which customers are willing to pay. Non-value added activities for which the customers are not willing to pay. Is that okay? See, I tell you, per kg of halwa rupees 1000. Okay, if you want to get just a 50 grams packet, like, you have to pay 5 rupees extra. Will the customers are willing to pay for this? That's a question. If the customer is willing to pay for this, then only it is called value added. Then we can recover that amount only from that customer. No, sir, they never bother about that. Seems to be insignificant. Then just bill the product based on normal rate, 1000 rupees. The person who demands more packing will also be charged only for the product. Never bother about the packing costs. So non-value added activities for which customers are not willing to pay. So you have to identify whether the activity having some value additions for the product, so that we can recover that amount from the customer. If you are not able to have any power to recover, okay, we don't claim it separately. Then how can we recover those costs, sir? Those non-value added activity costs can be added to the concerned product or customer based on the traditional costing method. So here we have seen this 500 rupees. We may have the chances to classify this for various activities, but those activities may be non-value added activities, or the value is very insignificant. For that costs, we can depend on the traditional accounting itself. We never bother about the ABC costing. Here, you now able to understand this. Now, state whether each of the following independent activities is value added or non-value added. Value added or non-value added. Polishing of furniture used by a system engineer in a software firm. Software engine firm and polishing furniture. What's there? No connection. Okay. So no value added activity. Maintenance by a software company of receivables management software for banking company. For the banking company, they use a receivable management software. If it gets corrupt, then the banking operation will get trouble. So then what you can do? You have to have a support. Then definitely it's a value added activity. Value added. Is that clear? And what about the next one? Painting of pencil manufactured by a pencil factory. So by painting the pencils, then the value may be higher. So rather than selling normal pencil with a colorful pencil, it will fetch you more cost. So customers are willing to pay more. So the painting is a value added one. So depending upon the paint quality, we can charge differently, right? So now also if you go for purchasing the mobile, some special color version may be costlier, around 1000 or 2000 rupees is higher. So when I supposed to purchase a mobile, I asked the rate was 40, another mobile was 42,000 rupees. I asked what's the difference between this one and that. Only colors are. Anyhow, because of the color, we are again going to have only what? That cover to hide that. I don't want to hide the 2000 rupees. So direct the 2000, pay me, get me the mobile for 40,000 rupees. Color doesn't matter for me. So sometimes the color gives some value additions. Customers computer keyboard cleaning by computer repair center. Yes, this is value addition. Computer repair center. They clean the keyboard also. They are pretty happy. Okay. Providing brake adjustments in cars. Car service center. Yeah, of course. If the car brake is adjusted in a service center, I am willing to pay extra for that. So if customer is willing to pay extra, then that activity will be called as value added activity. And the cost incurred for the value added activity will be grouped for the activity, and based on the cost driver, we can recover from the cost object. Okay. Now activity may be unit level activity, batch level activity, product level activity, facility level activity. Okay. So we have, these are the four varieties of activities, four varieties of activity. Clear? You have to understand this. You have to understand this. Now, what is called unit level activity? If I want to distribute the Singer Academy's material to each and every student, I have to distribute for every student. Then I can very easily find out what is the cost I can recover from every student. But what about the external teachers, faculty remuneration I pay? The faculty remuneration is not for every student. For a batch of 50 students, I may pay around 1000 rupees. Then how can I recover that labor cost from you? 1000 divided 50 students. That's how I can recover from your customer. So the amount I spend for a batch size, then it's called batch level activity. For every unit output, if I calculate what is the cost, then it's called unit level activity. Is performed for each unit of the cost object. Is performed for each batch or group of product or services. And product level activity, okay, supports the production of specific product or service. Some special product we manufacture, only for that product we need to spend the cost as an activity. Facility level activity, okay, what about the cost for maintaining a library facilities and a study room facilities? Anyhow, we are not going to recover those costs exclusively from billing the students course fee here. Is that okay? If I charge you for coaching, for the facility, for the library fees, you'll say, anyhow, I'm not going to use the library facilities at all, right? Facility level supports operations in general, common operations, okay, common facilities, administration, okay, library, and any other common support facilities we have, office, all these things will come under this. Now, tell me, ABC Limited uses activity-based costing, accumulates overhead costs in the following pools. So, human resources, parts management, purchasing, quality control, equipment setup, all these things are. You are required to find out for each cost pool whether the cost pool would be unit level, batch level, product level, or facility level. If you are able to identify for every unit, then it's called unit level. For a group of units, then it's a batch level. For a specific product, then it's a product level. Seems to be unit level like, okay, but slight difference. Facility is nothing but we don't have any output because of that. But these things are facilitating for the some production. We have the office here. In colleges, what happens? Principal office, an office room, library, sports departments. All these things are facilitating company's image. Okay, while advertising, right? They usually highlight those things. They never talk about the classrooms. So, because once you join the colleges, you'll just stay only in the classroom, and most of the times are outside the college, not in those facilities, right? So, anyway, understand that. So, these are the things facility level. Human resources. What is that? Entire management of the human resources. Will it be related to any unit? No. Batch? No. Product? It's what about the entire facility. We need to have a human resource. So it's a facility level. And parts management. Product. It's a product. Purchasing. You will purchase a lot size. EOQ, economic ordering quantity. Every time you purchase a lot size, economic ordering quantity every time, so that will be economical. 100 units, 500 units. Then it is batch size. Quality control, you have to check every unit whether it's matching with the quality. So unit level. Okay, every unit is checked. And equipment setup. Setup is once done and you'll produce multiple units. Economic batch quantity, like you set up the machine and continue manufacturing. Then batch. Training employees. It's not directly linked with the product and it's a facility. Then it's a facility level activity. Assembly department, every unit will be assembled independently, so unit level. Receiving department, you receive material in batches. That's why it's called batch level. Is that okay? Hope you'll be now able to understand. And fourth one. ABC Industries produces industrial tools, each requiring a unique model. They inspect every unit during the trial run of a new mold and 10% of the units in the first 3 batches. Okay. So, during the trial run, every mold will be checked. Thereafter, for the first 3 batches, they will check only 10 out of the 100 units. Okay. Below are some activities of the firm. Now, using this, what do you do? You have to decide whether it unit level, batch level, product level, facility level. Additionally, you are required to identify the appropriate cost driver for each activity. Now, designing mold, what could be the cost driver? Designing mold. Will it be product or unit or batch or facility? Mold. Once you design the mold, you can produce 100 units or 50 units using the mold, right? Then it's called maybe designing mold may be either batch or product. Batch or product. There may be some confusions. No need to worry about that. Okay. Designing mold will be product level. What about the cost driver? Number of product designs. How many mold you are going to prepare? I am going to make around 5 molds. Then the cost may be 5 times. Is that okay? Creating mold and the number of molds created. See, cost driver usually will start with number. Already told you, eating is the activity and number of weeklies taken will be the cost driver. Okay, that you can easily recollect with all these points. If you are able to finish up these 4, the theoretical chapters of ABC costing is over for the CMA Group 2. For the CA, it's very rare. This part is very rare. This will be only for the CMA Group 2 students. For CA and CMA common, These kinds of comprehensive illustration you have to solve. Is that clear? Let's now start with this one. Presently, overhead costs are charged to the product on the basis of machine hour. This is traditional costing. Prepare cost statements under traditional as well as ABC. In both the model you have to calculate. Right. Let's start with the traditional method. C Limited manufactures 4 products XYZ and WXYZ. Output and cost data for the period just entered as follows. Outputs given, material cost, labor cost. These two are called what? Prime cost. And machine time is there. Machine time is there. And we have been given the overheads. Under traditional costing, how will you calculate? Now, what is the total machine hour required? 3000 units per unit, 0.5 means 1500 hours. 500 into 0.5, 250. 300 into 2, 600. 1000 into 4, 4000. What is the total number of machine hours? 6350 hours. What is the total overheads? This will be the total overheads. So, overheads here being 1,52,400, then machine hour rate should be overhead divided by total machine hours. Overhead being 1,52,400 divided by machine hour being 6,350, per hour rate being how much? 24. Is that okay? Clear? Then under traditional costing, how will you calculate? Under traditional costing, W, X, Y, Z. Material cost 50 rupees, 70 rupees, 160 rupees, 180 rupees. Labor cost 50 rupees, 60 rupees, 100 rupees, 75 rupees. Then prime cost being 100, 130, 260, 255. And factory overhead. Factory overhead is recovered based on the machine hours. That's how statement is given. Per hour is 24. For W, half an hour required. Then 24 into half an hour, 12 rupees. And here also 12 rupees. 2 hours required here means 48 rupees. 4 hours required, then this value being 96. Then what about the total cost? 112, 142, 308, 351. Is that clear? Clear? But the same overhead, no, based on this activity, if I allocate, then it's called ABC costing. Now, this overall overhead here, 1,52,400. This 1,52,400 is due to setup being 9,000 rupees, due to purchase being 10,400, due to handling 6,000, other factory overheads not related to any of the activity, maybe non-value added, insignificant value overheads. Other factory overhead 1,27,000. Clear? How can I identify the cost now? Now, what about the total number of setups here? 18 setups. For 18 setups, 9,000 rupees. For 15 purchase orders, 10,400. For 30 material handling, 6,000 rupees. Other factory overhead can be linked with what? Machine hour. The total machine hour being 6,350. 6,350. Is that clear? 6,350 hours already we found out. In case of traditional costing, all the factory overhead is shared based on the machine hour or labor cost, material cost, prime cost. But under ABC costing, to the extent possible, we can allocate to the activity, and based on that activity consumption, we allocate to the product. Those overhead cannot be allocated to any of the above activities, then we can follow the traditional costing. So here, W, X, Y, Z under ABC costing. Up to prime cost, there will not be any problem. Only overhead will be the problem. Now find out the overhead here. How do I calculate the overheads? Overhead related to the setup. Overhead related to setup. 9,000 is the overall cost for 18. And what about the per setup cost? 9,000 divided by 18. 500 rupees. For W, 500 into 10, 5,000. How many units? 3,000 units. So divide by that 3,000 units. Either you can state that in total or you can convert that into per unit. So I am converting that into the per unit. 9,000 is the total setup cost. Out of that, for W alone, how much? 500. Okay. 500, 5,000. 500 per unit, per setup. How many setups are for W? 10 setups, 5,000. 5,000 divided by what? 3,000. How do I calculate here? Okay. Cost per setup per cost driver multiplied with the output and then divided by multiplied with the number of cost drivers divided by number of units. That's the formula, you can guess it easily, no problem. Okay. Then here the value being 1.67. Or better way is what? In total, you may be now able to understand easily. 9,000 should be shared among all the 4 products using this ratio. 10:1:2:5. 5,000. Setup cost 5,000. X being 500. Y being 1,000. Z being 2,500. Is that clear? This seems to be pretty simple. Thereafter, you convert that to per unit cost later on. I calculate all these overheads for the total. In case of purchase order, 10,400 for how many purchases? 15 purchases. Now share this to W, X, Y, Z in this ratio 6:1:1:5. Come on. 10,400 divided by 15 into 6. Make it fast. 4,000. 160 and 1 share. Do you know how to use the calculator? Why you are taking so much time? See, 10,400 divided by 15, 693.33, 1 share. For 5 share, in your, 10,400 divided by 15. In your non-scientific calculator, you know, you got this value, 693. You got this value, okay? To find out the value for 6, just put into equal, into 6 equal, you'll get the answer. For 5 share, just to put 5 equal, you'll get the answer. Not here, in your non-scientific calculator. Test it. 10,400 divided by 15 per share is this much, 693. Into 6 equal, you get this value. Now you just press 5 times means just press 5 equal. Are you getting the answer? Are you getting? How many of you are able to get this? Just raise your hand if you are getting. One. You are? Online students, how many of you are able to get this answer? 10,400 divided by 15, you get this value. With that, if I want to multiply with 6, 7, 8, no, only first time into 6 equal. Thereafter, you want to multiply the same earlier number with 7, put 7 equal, 8 equal, you will get the answer directly. Okay, into 6 equal, thereafter 5 equal, 4 equal, 3 equal, but I don't get here. In computer, I don't get, but you are able to get the same answer in your calculator. How many of you are not able to get this answer? Getting no. Try again. So the total is 13. Okay. This one is 13. Yeah, correct here. Okay, thank you. So now we are playing with the calculators. Divided by 13 into 6, 4,800, 800, 800, 4,000. How many of you are able to get the answers as my instructed calculations method? Let's try for number of materials handling. 3,000 should be shared among the 4 products in this ratio, 12:1:2:15. Yes. 200 rupees into 12. Material handling. 2,400, 200, 400, 3,000. Other factory overhead. Divide this by this. Come on, get me the value. 200, I think, per share for 1,500. 200 or 20? 20, okay. So 20 into 1,500, 30,000. 20 into 250, 5,000. 20 into 6,000, 12,000. 20 into 4,000, 80,000. Get me the total. Make it faster. Make it faster. Hmm? Hmm? 4 to 200. 40 to 200, then 6,500, then 14,200, then 89,500. Now overhead per unit 42,200 for 3,000 units, then per unit value being 14.07. Am I right? 6,500 divided by 500, 13 rupees. 14,200 divided by 300, 47.33. And 89,500 divided by 1000, 89.50. In text, I calculated all these values per unit basis, but you can total it up and then you can convert that to per unit basis. That way also you can work out easily. Now the total ultimate cost being, you have to add the factory overheads with the prime cost. So total cost, if I add this prime cost and overhead, the total cost in this case being 114.07, 143, 307.33, 344.50. Hope now we'll be able to understand all these things. Clear? So ABC is one of the easiest chapters. Okay. Find out the overheads and allocate the overheads to the product based on the activity and cost to driver. That's all. Direct material, direct labor will be same. Apart from that, this is the method you have to follow. So all the concepts related to the ABC is over. 3, 4, 5 and 6, these are the additional sums to understand this chapter. Very simple. 3, 4, 5, 6 and okay, rest of the 3 illustration. We'll finish up faster, that's all. We'll finish up by today itself. A Limited manufactures 4 products, namely A, B, C and D, using the same plant and process. The following information is given. See, whenever this is output in units, direct material, direct, so these are what? The prime cost. Right. The 4 products are similar and are usually produced in production runs of 24 units and sold batches of 12 units. Okay. Production run 24 units. Once you set the machine, how many units you can produce? 24 units per batch. 24 units. And in order to sell batch, you can sell dozen units. Okay. If you go and purchase, no, they will say you have to purchase 1 dozen, 2 dozens, like so. They sell in dozens. Using machine hour rate currently absorbs the production overheads. Currently, what model is used? Machine hour rates. Okay. The total overheads incurred by the company for the period is as follows. We want this information first. Right. Now, what is the total cost we do? We incur here. These are the total cost we spend. Right. During the period, so what are the costs we spend? Overall spending is 1,10,592. Currently, the entire 1,10,592 allocated to the product using the machine hours. When it is being the ABC, we try to break this entire cost to the activity. Machine operation, setup related, stores receiving, inspection, material handling, right? So they have now grouped the cost for various activities. Now, during the period, the following cost drivers are to be used for the overhead costs. How can we allocate the costs? Cost driver is also given here. Okay. It also determined that the machine operating maintenance cost should be apportioned between setup cost, stores receiving value and inspection activity in the ratio of 4:3:2. Right. So, machine operation. Okay. And maintenance and machine operation costs. Apportion between setup cost, stores receiving and inspection in the ratio of 4:3:2. 3:2 ratio. Okay, so machine operation and maintenance cost, you know. For that, there is no any proper cost driver, but can be allocated to these three costers, and then you can use the ABC costing. Number of requisitions raised and stored is 50 for each product, and the number of orders executed is 192. Each order being for a batch of 12 of the product. Batch size of 12. Right. Now, let me first finish up this one before I incorporate the last one. What are the costs we have? Setup cost, machine cost, stores receiving cost, inspection cost, material handling cost. What's the total cost? 63,000. For setup, 20,000 rupees. For stores receiving, 15,000 rupees. For inspection, 10,000 rupees. Material handling, 2,592. Overall cost being 1,10,592. This 63,000 is redistributed to remaining 3 in the ratio of 4:3:2 ratio. You cancel that 63,000 here. This 63,000 added to setup cost, stores receiving, inspection cost in the ratio of 4:3:2. Yes. Find out that. Share this in the ratio of 4:3:2. 9. 63 divided by 9. 7,000. 7,000 into 4. 28,000. 3 share 21,000. And 2 share 14,000. Now the total after this adjustment being 0 for machine cost, because that cost is redistributed to setup, stores receiving and inspections. Now stores receiving cost, setup cost being 48,000 and stores receiving being 36,000 and inspection being 24,000, material handling being 2,592. Same overall cost. Overall cost. Is that clear? Now, setup will be based on the batches you operate. How many batches you operate? Production run being 24 units. Once the machine is set up, this setup will work for 24 units to be produced. Now, how many setups you operate now? Number of setups. Number of setups. We are in need of 720 units to be manufactured. For every setup, you can manufacture 24 units. So 720 divided by 24. Come on, tell me the number of setups. 30? 30 for this one. 30 for A. For A 30, I'll put the value for setup. Number of setups. $30 for A. For B, divided by 24. 25. For C, 20. Then 21. I don't want this cost because already I have taken the cost. I can score out this. This is not required. Total being 96. And stores receiving. This is for A, B, C. Okay, I put the value here. A is to B is to C is to D and total. And stores receiving. Stores receiving. Number of requisitions raised. Number of requisitions. Number of requisitions raised given here. Number of requisitions raised on store being 50 for each product. So we have raised around 50 requisitions, but number of orders executed being 192. How many products are there? 4 products are there. 50 into 4, 200 raised, right? Okay, that will be equal. That will be equal. Anyhow, actually executed being 192. Each order being for a batch size of 12 of the product. Batch of 12 of your product. Okay. 192. Now, stores receiving 200 based on the number of requisition raised. How many? 200 in total. I know the total first of all. I know the total first of all. Inspection number of production runs. How many production runs are there? Already we know 96 the same. 30, 25, 20 and 21. Production runs. For this also production runs. For this also production run. In case of material handling, orders executed. How many orders executed? 192 in total. In total 192. Clear? Now, tell me, rupees per cost driver. 48,000 rupees for 96 production runs. Per run cost us 500 rupees. 36,000 divided by 200, 180. 24,000 divided by 96, 250. 2,592 divided by 192, 13.5. 13.5. Clear? So I now calculated cost per cost driver, rupees per cost driver. You can now find out the cost for all these 4 products. All these 4 products. So we have 4 products A, B, C, D. Yeah. A, B, C, and D. Come on, tell me. First, we have to start with direct material cost, which is 42 rupees per unit. We can calculate for the total. Total units being 720 units, 600 units, 480 units, and 504 units. 720 into 42 rupees, 30,240. For B, 600 into 45, 27,000. For C, 480 into 40, 19,200. And for D, 504 into this one, 24,192. Direct labor similarly 10 into this much, 7,200. And here 5,400, 3,360, 4,032. Okay, 32 or 302. Prime cost here being 37,440, 32,400, 22,560, and 28,224. Okay, 224. Now we'll start with all the costs one after one. ABC costing. Under ABC costing, we'll start with the first setup cost. 500 rupees is the overall cost per setup. Number of setup for A being 30. So 30 into 500, 15,000. For B, 12,500. For C, 10,000 rupees. For Z, 10,500. Then stores receiving. Okay, stores 200 in total, 50 for each product. Means for all the product, the stores receiving being 50. The entire value can be shared equally. 36,000 divided by 4 directly. Otherwise 180 into 50, 9,000, 9,000, 9,000. And inspection 250 into 50, 7,500. For B, 25 into 250, 6,250. For C, 5,000. For D, 5,250. Handling costs. Material handling. 192 orders executed, each order being a batch of 12 of your product. 192 into 12. Okay, 192 into 12. Otherwise, you divide this output by 12. 720 divided by 12, just 2 times of this value. 60, 50, 40, 42. Okay, this is 24 bar. This one is 12. If you divide by this number by 24, you get this value. Same number, if you are dividing by 12, half of that, then the value will be double. That's how we can get the answer easily. Now 13.5 into 60, 810, 675, 540 and 567. Now 69,750, this value being 60,825, this value being 4,700, and here 53,541. Now find out the total. Total being, you have to add the prime cost with this. Oh, this itself total. Sorry. Now find out the cost per unit. 69,750 divided by 720. 96.88. 101.38. 98.13 and 106.23. What happens, sir, in case of absorption costing model? In case of absorption costing model, the entire overhead will be divided by number of hours. What's the total hours? A requires 4 hours, 720 units were produced, and if you multiply, what is the total machine hours? 720 into 4, 2880. So 2880 and 600 into 3, 1800 and 480 into 2, 960. 504 into 1, 504. You divide that 10,592 rupees overall value by the total. Come on, 6,144. Then what is the per hour rate? 18. Now how do I calculate? Under absorption costing, factory overhead is equal to 18 rupees into 2880. Yes. Hmm? 51,840 for B. Are you getting? 51,840. Is it 18 rupees? Hmm. Okay. Next, 1800 into 18, 32, 400, and 504 into 18, 960, huh? 17 to 80, then 9,072. Then what is the total cost? Total cost is nothing but prime cost and factory overhead. 89,280, 64, 800, 39,840, 37, 296. Find out the cost per unit. These are absorption costing. This one is ABC costing. Cost per unit 124, 108, 83, 74. Now find out the difference. Under ABC costing, for A we charge 124 rather than 96.88. Unwantedly, we charged the product's value higher by 27.18. Others benefit is charged to his own account. Okay, others benefit is charged. Other one has eaten, but we charged the bill on him. 101 and 188, so 6.68 we charged extra under this model. Difference in cost. 98 we now charge lesser, 15.13 lesser. We have to charge him more as per the ABC. Here 32.23 charged lesser. Hope now you'll be able to understand all these things. Clear? Make a note of it. Question number 4. Z Limited manufactures 3 types of products P, Q and R. The data are given here. As usual, machine hour, direct labor, direct material and units are given. Currently, the company uses traditional costing method and absorbs all production overheads on the basis of machine hours. The machine hour rate of overhead is 6 rupees per hour. 6 rupees per hour. Okay. Then under traditional costing or absorption costing, it's not ABC, absorption costing. For P, Q, R, the number of units being 3,000 units, 5,000 units, 20,000 units. And direct material being 90 rupees per unit for 3,000 units. Come on, tell me. 2,70,000. Here 80 into 5,000. 4 lakhs. 20,000 into 120. 24 lakhs. Direct labor hours per unit at the rate of 20 rupees. Then 4 hours into 20, 80 rupees per unit. Am I right? Okay. And 12 into 20, 240, 8 into 20, 160. So 80 into 3000, 2 lakhs 40, 240 into 5000, 12 lakhs, 120 into 160, 32 lakhs. The prime cost being 5 lakhs 10,000, 16 lakhs, and 56 lakhs. And now overheads. Overheads. ₹6 per hour, so you have to multiply with the number of hours. 3000 into 6. 18,000. Machine hour rate only, no? No. This is number of units. Machine hour being 10 hours per unit. Okay, per hour ₹6. So 10 into 3000 into 6 you have to multiply. Machine hour per unit into number of units. Thereafter again you multiply with 6. 30,000 into 6. 1,80,000. 1,80,000 rupees for Q. 18 into 3, 5,000. 90,000 into 6. 5 lakhs. 40,000 rupees. Similarly for R. 20,000 into 14 into 6. 16 lakhs. 80,000 rupees. And total cost 6 lakhs 90,000. 21 lakhs 40,000. And 72 lakhs 80,000. Which one? This is 5 lakhs 10,000 only, no? 5 lakhs 10,000 or 51 lakhs? 510, this is 1,80,000. What is the cost per unit? 6 lakhs 90,000 divided with 3,000. 230. And for Q, 428. For R, 364. Clear? Now, what is the total overhead? What is the total overhead? 24 lakhs. Total overhead will be now shared based on the activity in activity based costing. Overhead being 24 lakhs. The company proposes to use the activity based costing. The activity analysis is as entered. Okay, these are the activities we have been given. The overall overhead being 24 lakhs, you know. Out of that, related to the machine setup 20%, 4.8 lakhs. Machine operation cost 30%, 7.2 lakhs. Inspection cost 40%, 9.6 lakhs. Material procurement related cost 2.4 lakhs. 2.4 lakhs. Calculate the cost per unit of each product using traditional method. We have already completed. Calculate the cost per unit of each product using ABC. I am supposed to calculate here. Now number of units being 3000, 5000 and 20,000. Okay, number of units 3000, 5000, 3000, 5000, 20,000 for just an understanding. Now machine setup cost. Find out the number of setups. Number of setups. Very simple. 3000 units supposed to manufacture. Per batch we can produce 150. Means 3000 divided by 150. How many setups you need to have? 20 setups. For B, 10 setups. For C, 50 setups. Sorry, 2 setups. Am I right? Okay. 20 setups. 20, 10, 50. So this machine setup cost should be allocated to P, Q and R in which ratio? 20 is to 10 is to 20. Otherwise total being 50. Machine operation costs. Machine operation cost. Inspection costs. Number of inspection per batch is given. Per batch 5. How many batches are there? 20 setups is equal to 20 batches. So 5 inspections required per batch means for 20 into 5, 100. Okay. 4 into 10, 40. 3 into 20, 60. 200 inspections we have carried over. And procurement related costs, purchase order, number of purchase order per batch. Per batch, 3 purchases, number of batches being 20. You have to multiply these two. 20 into 3, 60. 10 into 10, 100. Oh, procurement related, right? 60, 100. 8 into 20, 160. 160. Overall, 320. Machine operation cost. Machine operations. Machine operation can be linked with usually machine hours. How many hours you operate? Okay. Maybe already we calculated. What's that here? 3000 into 10. So 10 hours required per unit, 3000 units. Then 10 into 3000, 30,000. Okay. 18 into 5000, 90, right? Okay. 30K, 90K. And here 14 into 20, 280K, otherwise 400K. Okay. Clear? Now this is the information that to used for allocation. Already we have calculated using absorption costing. This is absorption costing. Now I am going to use the ABC costing. Under ABC costing, machine setup. What is the total cost for machine setup? 4.8 lakhs should be shared among the 3 in the ratio of 2:1:2. Tell me. 1,92,000, 96,000, 1,92,000. This 7.2 will be shared using this ratio. 3 is to 9 is to 28. 54,000. 1,62,000. 5,04,000. This will be shared using this ratio. 4.8 lakhs. 1,92,000. 2,88,000. This will be shared using this ratio. Tell me. 54? 40? 45,000. Again 75,000. 1,20,000. Now, what is the total cost? Total cost being these four and add the prime cost. Add the prime cost also. I think you will be getting 12,81,000. 12,81,000. 21,25,000. 67,04,000. Try it yourself. There may be some error in the text. I request you to try it yourself and cross verify. Need to do lots of correction in the text. Are you getting this? Now find out the cost per unit under ABC. This is ABC. 12,81,000 for 3,000 units, then per unit cost is 427. Here 425 and 335.2. Okay, then you can give the conclusion. What is the difference? P under ABC costing, actually it costs us 427. Because of the traditional costing, we charged very lesser amount. Somebody has eaten, okay, for that, P has eaten, but for that somebody has paid the bill. Like only 230 we recovered from P, but he has really consumed 427 rupees worth the resources of the company. You have to be double cautious. So we have to charge him more in the coming years. So the question number 5 and 6, it's all about understanding the over and under recovery or unused time. Very simple illustration. Let me finish up faster. Kalyani Manufacturing Company has 3 salaried accounts payable clerk responsible for processing purchase invoices. 3 clerk are there for processing purchase invoices. Each clerk is paid salary of rupees 30,000 and is capable of processing 5,000 invoices per year, working efficiently. So in addition to salaries, Kalyani spends 9,000 per year for forms, postage, so on, assuming 15,000 invoices are processed. So from this it is very clear for purchase invoice processing, purchase invoice, we have 2 costs. One is fixed cost, another one is variable cost. Fixed cost being the salary payable to the clerk, 30,000. Okay, 30,000 rupees. For 3 clerk, 90,000 rupees. Is that okay? 30,000 rupees into 3 clerk, 90,000 rupees. And what about the cost per unit? We estimated 5,000 invoices per year can be processed per employee working efficiently. Then naturally what happens? 3 workers can process almost 15,000 invoices. We thought that we are paying 90,000 rupees for processing 15,000, otherwise 6 rupees is the fixed cost per unit, per invoice. Apart from that, 9,000 rupees is for forms and postage. This will be purely variable cost in nature. So 9,000 rupees you spend in total. For 15,000 units, it may be 0.6. Total cost being 6.6. Calculate the activity rate, but during the year, only 12,500 invoices were processed. Calculate the activity rate for the purchase order activity. Okay, so break the activity into fixed and variable components. So we calculated the fixed and variable component for this activity of processing purchase order. Compute the total activity availability. What's the total activity availability? 15,000 is the available one. Okay, and break this into the activity usage and unused. This will be called the usage. So usage being 12,500 hours may be used. Balance 2,500 remains unused. Okay, unused. Calculate the total cost of the resources supply and break this into activity usage and unused activity. Okay. Now resources supplied. Resources supplied. Now for used activity, we spend around 6.6 per activity. Actual invoices prepared here being 12,500. What is the total cost? 82,500. What about the unused activity? Even though the capacity remains unused, we have to spend at least the fixed cost. 6 into 2,500. What is that value? 15,000. Our total cost for the period is 97,500. See, for 12,500 units of our invoice processed, your total cost is equal to fixed cost plus variable cost per unit into number of units. That's a format. Fixed cost being 90,000 rupees and variable cost per unit being 0.6 into number of invoices processed is 12,500. Come on, get me the total value. Okay, 97,500 you will be getting. Anyhow, how you can state that is very simple. Based on the used activity, you have to show it separately. For the unused activity, only the fixed variable cost will be taken. Because we can recover 82,500 from the customer. This is no other way. It's a loss can be debited to the P&L. It's what about the decision of the management? How can I charge for the unused capacities rent from your fees? I tell, so I have the capacity to accommodate 100 students. So my payment being almost 1 lakh rupees. You have to pay me based on that. If I have only 5 students, how can I recover? Only to the extent of 5 students, fixed overhead will be recovered. Balance 95 is the management's decision. It's their cost. It should go out of their pocket, not from the customer's pocket. So the amount we can recover is only 82,500. But anyhow, the total cost we spent for the period is 97,500. For the unused activity, we still lose that unused capacity. For that, the fixed cost 15,000 becomes irrecoverable. It's a loss. Clear? That's how you can segregate the cost you spend. Shall I move on to the next one? Sixth one. Now, over or under absorption. Absorption is nothing but the overhead we estimated for the product we're supposed to manufacture based on the previous year estimation. But actual cost may be totally different. Okay, see, if the customer comes to my office for doing some job, which was done by me regularly, he asks me about a quotation. I'll tell him this is the material cost I need to spend and this is the overhead. How can I state the overhead cost ahead of manufacturing any item? Really not possible. Based on the previous experience, I can ask him, this will be the rough estimation you have to pay me. But after completion only, I can come to know that there may be differences. While giving the quotation itself, I tell them it's based on the previous year information. This year, if there is any plus or minus due to the price changes, scope changes, you have to bear that. But the estimation is changed due to my inefficiency, that will be shared by my own pocket money. Okay, clear? So you need to understand estimation is nothing but absorption. Okay, probably you estimated 100 rupees, actual cost you spend being 120. What does it mean? The difference 20 is called under absorption. This is called under absorption. Absorption is lesser than the actual. Immediately call for making the payment of 20 rupees back. Sir, I stated to you is approximate 100, on verification came to know it came to around 120 rupees. You have to further supply another 20. You have to further pay another 20 rupees. But in case absorption being 100 but actual being 80, what does it mean? Absorption is higher. This is called over absorption. In case of over absorption, it's my duty to refund this, or subsequently you have to adjust in the subsequent billing, whatever it may be. You have to either refund or you have to repay. Suppose this 20 due to inefficiency, my side mistake, 5 rupees. Another 15 rupees due to the price hike in the market, or scope change. Scope change means you asked me to prepare 100 units. Suddenly later you asked me to prepare 102 units extra. Because of the additional 2 units extra cost is there, then definitely I can recover it from you only. So this can be recovered from you by raising further invoice, that will be called a supplementary invoice to correct this. Original bill may be 100 rupees, original invoice. Based on the actual, there is any deviation, for that also I raise one more bill to collect this money. This cannot be collected. Okay, this may not be collected. A company operates an activity-based costing system to attribute its overhead costs to cost object. In its budget for the year ending 31st August 22, the company expected to place a total of 2,000 purchase orders at a total cost of 1 lakh. Okay, so what does it mean? 1 lakh divided by 2,000 is the estimation budgeted. How much then? 50 rupees is the cost per unit. The activity and its related cost were budgeted to occur at a constant rate throughout the budget year, which is divided into 13 4-week periods. 13 4 weeks period. During the 4-week period, 30th June 2021, a total of 200 purchase orders were placed at a cost of rupees 9,000. Okay. Find out over or under recovery. So for 200, what is the absorption rate? Absorption, or as per either traditional costing or ABC costing. In both the cases, the calculation is same. What is my estimation? 50. So 50 for 200, it is 10,000 rupees. But what is the actual cost we spend? Only 9,000. This is absorption, this is actual. Now what is higher? Absorption is higher, then this is called over absorption or over recovery by 1,000 rupees. Now what's your duty? Your duty is to refund this money. You have to refund this. In a reverse case, you can further collect it from the customer, provided that additional money you recover is due to price hike or scope change, not due to your inefficiency. If it is being your inefficiency, it should be debit to your costing paid. Hope now you'll be able to understand. So with that, ABC costing is completely over. Clear? Make a note of it.